The following program is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
What's going on, good people? Your boy E-Buck in the building on this rainy day here in the D. That's why we got the rainy scenes. But don't you like them? Don't you like them? It's looking good. Anyway, this is the Guru Sports Session. And of course, we can't have the Guru Sports Session without the Guru. Still not 100%, but close to it, at least close enough to do the show. Here he is, my brother Hugh Lee. What's going on, Hugh?
What's going on, E man? Like I told you, I don't know how I did the show yesterday, man. I was feeling so bad, but now today I was feeling much better. Was able to sleep and kind of collect my thoughts finally, man, so we can do a show. I told you we was gonna do one, and now I'm here.
Well, good people, do make sure you check out Hugh's shows. You need to go to Hugh Lee on YouTube. Look up Hugh Lee. It's a couple Hugh Lees. Make sure you find the right one, and then we
More
can
than
go
I
on
thought.
with.
A lot more than I thought.
Yeah, that being said, we're gonna work around that. We will actually have that up for you on Hugh's regular Facebook page sometime later today. Me and the production department. Yeah, that dude over there on this side. Yeah, we're gonna work that out. But anyway, beyond the realm of that, we ready to talk some sports with y'all. Y'all know how we like to do. Uh Few sports this week, not many, but a lot to talk about in them few sports. First and foremost, we got to talk about the madness because, of course, the madness is still going on, even though we're in April now, and we are down to the final four in the men's and the women's. I gotta admit, overall, I'm a little surprised that we are where we at. Because keep in mind, over the years we've been used to the Cinderella stories and the big come ups and the people that come out of nowhere and become superstars overnight and whatnot. I ain't really got that in this tourney on the
I don't
men's
know.
or the women's side. In fact, people, of the 8 teams that's left, the four on the men's side, four on the women's side, only my UConn Lady Huskies are a number 2 seed. Everybody else is a 1 seed. That's the first time that has ever happened as far as men and women's total. Your thoughts, Hugh?
I thought that was actually cool, man. And unfortunately, yeah, man, we wanted to see the matchup of all matchups, but it didn't happen. When Juju got hurt, we kind of figured the UFC was on borrowed time, and then that basically the way that went down. But all the number one seeds that was left to with UConn, I still feel like right now the UConn still is the hottest team out of all of them, and that's all it need. Most times, that's all you need is just to have a really good win streak, and then just to be on some type of hot streak, man. They're
Okay, well,
deep.
yeah, we definitely gonna talk a few players, but before we get to them, let's talk about Juju for a minute. I am very encouraged by all the love that that young lady's been getting, not only in her own sport in college, but also throughout the WNBA and throughout the NBA and other sports. A lot of people got love for Juju. It's good to see.
Yeah, because what I look at right now is her injury kind of changed a lot of the format of what everything was going to happen when it come to the Final Four. But UConn being in the Final Four don't surprise me because they had the same luck, or they had the same. Well, actually, they were more banged up last year than this year, and they still win. So that just speaks volumes of how good that team is. But yeah, this year I wouldn't be surprised if they take it all this time.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Okay, like I said, the women's Final Four, it does start Friday. The 4 teams that's left, my UConn Lady Huskies, as I mentioned, they'll be taking on UCLA. And of course, we got Texas taking on South Carolina.
For the
Now,
third
as you know, South Carolina, the current champions, trying to go back to back. Remember last year, they went the whole shebang bang, undefeated, and went to win the national championship. This year, they've lost 3 times. That's the good news. The bad news is, guess what 3 times it was, and guess who they lost to? Texas,
UCLA.
UConn, and UCLA. The 3 teams left in the tournament. Ain't that crazy? How's that for a stat?
Yeah, that definitely basically let me know right there. And I just don't feel like they had that sense of urgency. Yeah, they got a lot of young players on that team, but Don basically can tell you as much as she want to. You got to go out there and experience it too. That's why I think them losing them 3 games was good for them. But yeah, I definitely didn't think they was going back to back. We both said that, but I just feel like now with them, they just need to go back to the drawing board. You already know they need to hit that portal and try to go after a big. But
Because think about it, y'all. The 3 times South Carolina has won in the last 7 years. Think about the common denominator. Last year, Cardosa. A couple years before, Leah Boston. A couple years before that, Asia Wilson. They don't have nobody like that on this
at
particular
all,
South
there's
Carolina
no game
squad.
changers like them, not at all. So they're going to need that dynamic, man. Hopefully they can find one, or as funny as it sounds too, this gonna probably get us in the next segment too. How unorganized and how crazy the portal has been lately. 9 times out of 10, we're gonna at least see about 12 centers go to the portal sometime
Keep
soon.
in mind, it's like every day I'm sending you, like, okay, this person in the portal now, this person in the portal now, this person, they jumping in there big time. But we'll get to that in a minute. Uh, that being said, I think South Carolina somehow, some way, will find a way to get their revenge on Texas. But whether it's UCLA or UConn on the other side, yeah, I don't think they win in that game.
No, because that's who I had. I had UConn and South Carolina, and I had UConn beating them by double digits.
Yeah, I mean, hard not to think that. Keep in mind, remember they did play earlier this season, and UConn got busy. It was a thrashing, and it wasn't even as close as it could have been because they kind of went easy on them at the end. It really could have got ugly. But that being said, I do believe UConn will find their way past UCLA. It's not going to be an easy game. I expect that to be the closest game of the weekend of any of the 3 that we see, because they're going to have their hands full with Lauren Betts. My main concern with UConn, the same concern you have with South Carolina, the bigs. Because our bigs for UConn, they really ain't been bigging. Not at all. And I know part of that comes into play with the fact that Miss Jana Alfie was going through Ramadan and, not eating
Yeah, absolutely.
through the course of the day is tough enough. But then when you have to come up with the type of energy you need to play competitive basketball on a Division I level, that was asking a lot of herself and her body. Thank God for her. Ramadan is over, and hopefully she can get a little energy boost between now and tournament time Friday, because they're going to definitely need her to show up.
Yeah, because that's tough, man, to go through Ramadan around the same time. Yeah, that's tough.
But yeah, I think that's the key for UCLA. Lauren Betts, feeder, feeder, feeder. Because that's the one person on UConn that they don't have, the big. That being said, UCLA gonna have their hands full with Sarah Strong and Paige Beckers.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like they really have anybody to check Paige. They are a good defensive team, but they don't have nobody to stop Paige. And Sarah Strong, I've yet to see a team really stop Sarah Strong. Sarah Strong is the only person I've seen stop Sarah Strong.
Yeah.
And of course, the X factor is, of course, Miss AZ Fudd, who ain't been playing great these last couple games, but when she hot, she on fire. If all 3 of them sparking at the same time, they the champions, plain and simple. Not to mention, if they come up with that defense they played in the first couple rounds, they play that type of defense against any of these other teams, it's over with.
Because what surprised me with UConn, and it wasn't as much as a surprise, but it was a surprise to me, is how bad they beat Oklahoma. Because Oklahoma's a really good team, and they beat the brakes off of them, man. And that was made me say, man, if they can continue to play like this, it's going to be hard to beat them.
Right, because they got some good shooters in Oklahoma and some good bigs. Can't wait to see what Mitch Chavez, the number one recruit in the country, does with them next year. Especially since the other big from Oklahoma, Miss Beards, one of several players that's deciding, yeah, I'm gonna come on back. Which is it's a lot of that seem to be going on the women's side, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so me and Hugh both got UConn and South Carolina going to the final game on Monday, or on Sunday, I should say, and UConn winning it all. I hope that's the case because I'm a big Husky fan. Y'all know that. But anyway, let's move on to the men's side here, where all the number one seeds, all four of them, are in the Final Four. So that, for those who don't know who they are Houston, good old Duke. We got Houston, Duke, Florida, and Auburn. Those are your Final Four. What's your thoughts on them, Hugh?
Crazy part is, with me, what I like about this, like one team that I think could be a good matchup is Duke and Florida, man, because Florida got some really good bigs, athletic too, just like Duke. And I do like Auburn. Houston's decent; they're a scrappy team too. But yeah, I definitely feel like no matter who goes to the actual championship, I believe Duke is the clear cut favorite.
Understand, Duke is the youngest team of that four. They got a lot of the one and dones and sophomores on that squad. Houston is the older team of the four. Down there, everybody on that squad, 22, 23, 24. Then, of course, you got the Auburn squad that's mainly kids that was somewhere else, and now they all at Auburn. And then, of course, you got Florida, who seem to be the deepest team of that four. They pretty much got everything you need from big down. It's so good at Florida that the big dude that was supposed to play this year, Mr. Ryu, 7'8" of him, red shirted. So for as good as Florida is this year, may be even worse next year. But anyway, that being said, yeah, like you, I also got Florida facing Duke for the national championship game. Originally, I picked Florida to win that. I'm kind of reneging on that now because I really like how good Duke has looked throughout the tournament. And we
But
know
I'm
that
not surprised that you went for Florida Eagles. That's a good ass team. You know
it
what,
is.
too? I don't know if we had this conversation. That remind me of the Joe Kim Noah Florida team with him and Al Horford and all them dudes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember, that team went on to win back-to-back national championships. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not going to be a walk in the park for Duke, but I think they do it because, bottom line, the best player in the nation, by far, without shadow of a doubt, on the men's side, Cooper Flag. That dude is awesome. If you've not seen him play, worry not. You will see him play soon enough in the NBA, but
Absolutely.
he is a game changer on offense and defense.
And what's crazy to me too is when we talk about that too, man. One of the best games I seen was one of the Elite Eight games when they played Arizona. That was a good back and forth, man. It was so close at one point that Duke had to pull off a few stops and get a few defensive plays go their way because you didn't know. It was like whoever had the ball last at one point until they made those couple of stops. And that's when Duke kind of pulled away with it because I think the final score was like 93 to 100. But yeah,
Right, and keep in mind, at one point, Duke was up like 22 in that game, but they kind of let their foot off the gas. That is my concern with them. They won't have that option playing Florida.
can't do that with Florida.
They might get away with it playing Auburn, but no, against Florida, not gonna happen.
You mess around and do that with Florida, you're gonna get beat by double digits.
Right. And like I said, Houston, the X factor and all this thing, like I said, they got all the veteran players. They a squad built on let's play some hard defense, let's run them to death. The teams that's left in the tourney, they can run with them though.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's gonna be interesting. That being said, that takes place on Saturday and Monday.
Mhm.
Curious to see what the TV rating's gonna be for this tournament overall. Remember last year, men's, women's, it wasn't even close. The women's did double the number the men's did. I think it's going to be a little bit more even this year, though I do say the women probably do better numbers wise than the men again, because I think a lot of people, particularly if UConn makes the final, are going to tune in and see what Paige does before
Yeah.
she goes on heads out to the WNBA. Now, that's the story, but then there's the stories behind the story. In other words, much like we talked about last week, it's got even more outlandish. When we talk about this thing we know as transfer portal, because the crazy thing is we see how it's playing out now. Teams are going to the tourney, whether it's the NCAA tourney or the NIT or whatever. They playing their games out, and as they lose, and they deciding pretty much that day or the next day, okay, yeah, I ain't like this team. I'm up out of here. Or yeah, they ain't pay me enough money. I'm gone. So it's like a running list. In fact, there's a couple websites that you can go to. Just type in transfer portal. It's different websites. Remember before we was trying to find a site that had the transfer portal stuff? It's several of them now. And it's because there's so many people hitting this portal. Over 1,200 people on the men's side alone, in basketball alone, have hit the transfer portal in the last 2 weeks. Crazy, you.
Man, what I haven't liked about it is too, like you said, how fast they're doing it, man. It's like if my team don't win, or like you said, I don't like this team. What I believe they should do is they should definitely say something first, or let them know, and so you could be aware that you're going to the transfer portal. They have to do something to make it more organized, man. Because how many people were in a transfer portal, man? In basketball alone, I think like
1,200. That's just on the men's side.
That's
we ain't counting the women's side, where it's several hundred of them as well.
You already know, man. They need to let that be known too. Like, rather than us saying, "Damn, it's 1,200 people." I believe it's a bidding war, man. Because remember when we seen when Quentin Ewers was in football, and they were trying to keep him in college, and was going to try to give him $8 million just to stay and go through the transfer portal. So they're doing that. They're negotiating with people when they're on these teams, and I know the highest bidder is going to get their guy, but I don't think that they should, keep that on the low. They should let people know, or at least let your team know that this team is offering a certain amount, so you could try to match that offer, kind of like NFL, because now we're starting to get to more like a professional way of, the NBA and the NFL trade deadlines and stuff. You should be able to match these teams. Do you agree with me? To have some type of more open dialogue to where you can get everything out in the open and say, okay, this team's offering me $8 million. I want to leave, and I possibly might go there. You guys was only offering me 6.5. And if that team matches that $8 million, then you stay. I definitely want to see more to where they're not just having these guys just leave the team because there's a higher bidder, man. I just want a little bit more organization, or just make it more organized, man, to where it's not as sloppy, because it's too messy right now. And we've had that conversation on how messy it is.
Now let's break this down for y'all. Give us a few minutes here. First of all, remember it's over 200 and some odd Division I schools in college basketball. That's just Division I, man. Remember, you got Division I, you got Division II, you got Division III, you got NIA. It's literally thousands of schools playing basketball, first of all. And all the transfer portal comes into play with that. So when we talk about just 1,200, that's just Division I.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't kind of what's going on in Division II and III, first of all. Second of all, in order to be in these NIL spaces and whatnot, these kids now have something that other college students did not have before. This thing called agent, okay? Because understand, if you got one NIL deal, what's better than one NIL deal? 2, 4, 6. Like we talked about last week, we even got the damn student managers getting NIL deals now.
I was so sick of seeing that dude on TV. You don't understand.
Crazy. And I'm talking about making buku money. So there's that factor. Well, that's like Hugh said, we got to get some organizing going on. First of all, go ahead, Hugh.
I'm about to hit you with like one of our old school Game Time Audible hookers, E. So it's officially official right now. The Wolves governor Glenn Taylor has agreed to Mark Lore and Alex Rodriguez group acquiring full ownership of the team. The team being the Minnesota Timberwolves. They did those dudes dirty, E, because remember when they first was starting to play well, then that's when those guys wanted to try to back out and say we wanted to keep the team, but then it was still ongoing. So I'm glad that A-Rod and Laura got the team. That was dirty as hell, man, because at first they didn't want to keep them when they wasn't winning, but now they was winning. They was like, hey, not so fast. So yeah, about time they finally made it right and made it official and gave them full ownership back.
Well, now understand that was only half of that equation, Hugh. Remember, the other thing that's a factor is the TV deal that they just signed with everybody. Remember, we just basically had TNT and ESPN. Now we got NBC involved, we got ABC involved, we got ESPN, we got games on Amazon, I believe.
Yep.
Big, huge TV deal. Remember, all that money gets split between the teams. So that's money they didn't know about when they first tried to hook this deal up.
Yeah, so
They wanted to benefit from it all. So that's part of what that was about.
That was dirty as hell.
I mean, in the end, it's crazy because we arguing over hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. I think that team, when they bought it, was worth maybe less than 100 mil. They're getting billions from this thing.
Yeah.
So they still benefit in the end. A-Rod and them benefited from it in the end. So it's a win for everybody. But, you know, when you got big money, you want bigger money. I guess that's what that boiled down to.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but congrats to A-Rod on his ownership. But back to the whole transfer portal thing. Yeah, first of all, it should be no transfer portal jumping off until the whole tournament is over. Period. I mean, even now, it's bad enough they got that, but then you got people declaring for the draft right now. It's too much going on. Now, I understand part of the issue is how the WNBA is set up, because understand, tournament about to be over next week. Training camp for the WNBA start the following week. So you got to make up your mind real quick on the women's side what you're going to do. But then here's the factor in this. A reason why I think we started to see a lot of the kids say, you know what? I got one more year. Yeah, let me get that. It ain't just the NIL part of it. Remember, the WNBA is in the last year of its current contract. Next year, they need a whole new CBA to decide who gonna do what. And as we know, the WNBA is making more money now than it was a couple years ago because a lot more people put their booties in the seats. Now, according to one representative that they talked about on ESPN, they actually lost money last year, the WNBA. I don't understand it because their attendance was damn near triple what it's been. So I don't get that much of it. Not to mention, there's a lot more sponsorship in the WNBA. So I don't totally trust that report, to be honest. Sinead Gumake also questioned it. And, you know, she was one of the people on the WNBA PA committee. I think she would know better than most. Her and Stephen A got into it yesterday. Y'all can look it up online. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely more money to be made in the WNBA. We know that. Are they going to be making Steph Curry type money in WNBA? Absolutely not. We know that. They ain't getting that type of money going on. But based on what we see, the ticket prices and the TV deal and all of that, yeah, you got to start paying them women what they are worth. And it should be the type of money to where you shouldn't have to worry about going overseas. I think they should be making at least 5 to 10 times more what they making. If the average WNBA player is making $100K, they should be making at least close to $1 million, I think.
I don't like the fact too that you're starting to hear these guys trying to troll the WNBA. I know I heard Angel Reese say we want to sit out if they don't give us what we feel like we worth. And I think 2 of them, I forgot the one guy. I don't think nobody liked him. The heavyset dude, the black guy who was on Fox. Wasn't a fan of that guy, man. I don't know. He's not even relevant, so I don't even know his name. But then at the same time, you got Antonio Brown and other people saying if they don't play or if they sit out, man, nobody will miss them. Man, that's BS, man. I think that right now, as good as they've been and how up they've been trending, I like watching that better than NBA sometimes because NBA starting to get to like a Euro league, man. It's starting to be so bad with all them threes and stuff, and
Yes.
I'd rather like the WNBA the traditional way that they play, man. That's what I like, man. And it's very aggressive over there. And I just like the ball, the way they play ball because it reminds me of the 80s and the mid 90s way of playing.
I like that it's actually post players that actually post up in the WNBA.
Dude, you don't never really see nobody post up no more in the NBA, man. Remember they were saying that it got so bad that they was gonna try to get the center position out of the game. What the hell you trying to make a hybrid position? Like, dude, y'all taking away from the game.
Absolutely. It's crazy how it's set up now. I mean, last night, and we'll get to some of the WNBA stuff, just the NBA stuff, I should say. The game is hard to watch sometimes because of that.
It is
This
very
game is a lot more strategy going on in the game. That's why I
yeah.
think a lot of people are starting to gravitate towards it. Not just the players themselves, but how they play the game, period. And the skill level is definitely having improved in the WNBA as well. But yeah, this transfer portal thing, it definitely needs to be tweaked sooner than later. Got to get that working, okay? But that being said, it's several names that have entered the transfer portal that we really wasn't expecting to, and a couple that we have. For example, Kayomi McMiller, the outstanding freshman point guard from Rutgers, she has put her name in the transfer portal, and is one of the top players. Talk about it, Hugh.
What's funny is you told me, you said, Hugh, she ain't gonna be happy about what happened. I don't care what her dad said. You said she gonna go in that transfer portal. And it's funny because she was one of the first people who said that too, that she wanted to go through the transfer portal. He was saying that that's not going to impact and that's not going to make anything, change for us and our feelings of staying with Rucker. Man, they couldn't wait for the season to be over with. And I'm not surprised because of that.
Right. Now, understand, Hugh, I think part of it might be a power play because
Money?
remember, the key to this transfer portal thing is the NIL offer, okay? And
Yeah.
McMillan, she averaged like 17 and 5. She's a damn good player, a little flashy. And some coaches don't like flashy, and I think that was the case with the Rutgers coach. But understand that her father wants her to go to Rutgers. He is like pretty much determined to keep her there. So my thing is, this might be okay. Well, Dad, I'm trying to work with you, but I can't. I want out. But remember, when you hit the transfer portal, that does not mean you can't go back to that school.
Right.
Because oftentimes that is the case in the transfer portal. A third of these players, they're going to end up right back where they started. Okay. And this might be one of them things like, okay, this might be a money play. That being said, if it's not, I'm looking at some of the schools that's been listed in her, they showing interest, like West Virginia and Arkansas, schools that's not really in the running for no national championship.
No,
So I'm thinking, okay, if you're trying to go there, it's for one reason only.
the money.
That mean green.
I definitely believe that some other teams are going to start coming available too.
I hope so, because I don't like her choices so far.
Them teams.
Now, we thought, okay, that's a pretty good one hitting the portal. Then the other people, TCU players, after they lost, had a couple people hit the portal. But then, hold my beer, because when Notre Dame lost, now all of a sudden they done had 3 people hit the portal, including Olivia Miles. Talk about this one, Hugh.
That was huge. I couldn't wait to put that on my sports page, man, because it was just so big that we still trying to figure out. We want answers. That's the thing. We still don't know why she left. And then we was thinking, man, she don't probably want to play second fiddle to Hannah Hidalgo, and it was things that we were thinking about, but it might be more to it. But we definitely feel like it's something there. that made her say that. But the crazy part was she would have been a sure number 2 pick in a WNBA draft.
Right, which made it margin. But like I said, I think part of that thinking is okay, they about to do the CBA. If I come out now, then I'm on that freshman, that freshman deal where I'm only gonna make about 70, 80K at the most. If I wait to do the CBA, go through and then come out next year, that deal might be 4 or 5 times more than that. So maybe that's why I go ahead and stay. Because in the meanwhile, I'm gonna stay in school and make about good 500 to $1 million anyway, saying I'm that girl. But no, just the fact that Notre
Yeah,
Dame
man.
was kind of right there for like 3 of their players to be like, "Yeah, I'm hitting the
You
portal."
never know
I
what's
was
going to
thinking
be.
something went on in Notre Dame. Go ahead, Hugh.
Yeah, because there's not going to be any production school like that, man. The school, they're too organized. And so to have something like that, having 3 of your players leave is something going on, man. And we don't really know it. Hopefully, it'll come out. But yeah, transport portal, we got out of control. We just feel like we thought that it'll be a good thing, but now it's so messy that they got to have somebody, at least a mediator, or somebody to clean it up because we got to fix it the way they do it and how they handle everything. Since you want to be like more like a professional level, when you're paying the players and stuff, you have to settle and you got to do a little better when it comes to the players agreeing to these deals and transferring. And, like I was saying, give a player, or give the team a chance to match, but you got to do something to make it not as messy as 1,200 people transfer portal is absolutely ridiculous. And it's starting to take away from the college game. And I know I remember on Pat McAfee's show somebody before the of course the NIL deal was available then, but they were scared because they were saying they think the NIL and the transfer portal was going to make it more like a professional level, and how people are divas on a professional level, and they were saying they don't think it's going to be because it's going to take away from the game, college football, basketball, and everything in general. And now we starting to see.
Right, and then understand another reason why we at where we at with the tournament. How you notice ain't been no Cinderellas or whatnot. I think it's gonna be less likely that we see them moving forward because anybody that can truly play, what's the likelihood they're gonna be at a Murray State or Eastern Michigan? Shout out to my alma mater, or a place like that when the big money out there with the teams in the SEC and the Big Ten and whatnot. If I'm a good player,
Yep.
I can stay at this school, make a name for myself because I'm the only good player here. Or I can go to this school, get NIL money, and still be on TV and build my brand from there. Because that's what it is. These young people are thinking, okay, I got to consider my whole thing. Because remember, people, y'all remember that commercial from back in the day? In the NCAA, only 1% of all these players will ever go professional. Remember that? That's still the case.
Yeah.
So most of these people making these
Oh, absolutely.
NIL and transfer portal moves, they think about how much money can I get while I'm still playing basketball in college. I mean, hell, it's so crazy. Remember that dude Hunter Dickinson, former Michigan
Yeah.
Wolverine, former Kansas City Jayhawk. Okay, you about 24, 25. Now about time you go into the NBA. Not so fast, my friend. Even he is in the portal and has been granted a 7th year of eligibility. This getting way out of hand. Now we already know about the COVID year and all that, but come on now. Come on.
And and the sad part is we was hurt at first when Hunter left, man. Not anymore. We got some really good talented dudes over there now, man, in Michigan. And this dude can't even make up his mind. You're gonna be in school for that
And
long.
don't be surprised, Hugh, because already it's been 8 people in the transfer portal who has transferred from one school, and guess what? Transferred back to the school they transferred from. And I can see Hunter Dixon doing that. Now that it's different people at Michigan.
It's sad too because like I said, I wasn't really too happy about him leaving, but as good as our young team is right now, man, we gave Auburn all they can handle. I kind of like the direction we're going in. It's not like Michigan players doing what they want to do. You going as the coach do, and the he was actually a really good coach, man. I didn't give him as much credit as I should
Right.
this year.
Which why, it was fortunate that Michigan recognized that early on and extended him, keeping in mind that he is from Indiana, and Indiana definitely was looking for a coach, and they probably was going to snatch him up if they didn't do that.
Smart
But
move.
that being said, it's two people from the Michigan squad that entered the portal themselves. So, I don't know.
Yeah, because Scottie Pippen's son.
Correct.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
And now the point guard, Trey Donaldson, has entered the portal.
Oh, that's a surprise.
Right. Not as surprising as Trey Holloman at Michigan State entering the portal the same day. So, it don't seem to matter what team you're on, whether you're on a good team or not so good team, if you could work some stuff out. Because think about it, y'all. Here's the other X factor that we're going to move on. Y'all know how these deals work out in free agency in the NBA and NFL. You know how, okay, well, you got to wait to this day to start free agency. But then by the time we get to that day, we already heard about 100 to 200 deals already.
Mm-hmm.
That it jumped off, even though they weren't supposed to talk to that person to that day. That same thing got to be going on in college right now.
Absolutely. They just got to clean it up and make it more. I think if they put it on TV, like how they do basketball and stuff, if they did all the college game, like at least football and basketball, and they put it like that free agency frenzy, like NFL, man, that'd make TV.
It's enough content out. I mean, because keep in mind, we just talked about two of several college sports. All of them have transfer portal NIL now.
Mm-hmm.
You do know that, right? We know of gymnasts that they hit the portal. We know softball players that hit the portal, baseball players, volleyball players, tennis players, golf players. They definitely going to have to sit down and figure this thing out because it's getting crazy now.
Yeah, it's getting too messy. They got to do something, man, to make things,
Right. They can have a whole network, the transfer portal network.
That'd be dope. Don't you know how much money that'll make, man? And they all about that money. So yeah.
Sports heads would watch it, no doubt.
Man, I would, man. And make a channel for the transfer portal. Right. Please. Give us a free agent frenzy from the transfer portal. Let us know, even though they aren't supposed to be talking to these teams, give us a 2-day window to figure out.
They talking to these teams.
And don't you notice, one thing I've noticed in the NFL too, when they do free agent frenzy, you never really have too many players who have a change of heart and decide to go back to their original team. Because I don't know if you knew, man, Dre Greenlaw, man, they said that a man's went to his house, Kyle Shanahan, and tried to talk him out of his deal. By that time, it was already too late.
Yeah, well, that ain't the first time that happened in sports. You remember the story talking about the big fella that played for the Clippers. Can't think of his name at the moment. He's now with Denver Nuggets, by the way. Jordan, there we go. DeAndre Jordan. How basically half the team went to his house and wouldn't let him leave until he agreed to come because he was on his way to Dallas at the time. So, yeah, these things happen. But long story short, college, you got to do better.
Clean this up.
Yep. Now, that being said, we're going to take a commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to jump into some MLB. And the craziest thing is it's, second week? And we already got our first controversy 2025. Let's talk about it after these words from our Nighthawk Network. Nighthawk Network, our voices for our people.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea-sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
sports his way. It's the Guru's Perspectives.
Hold up, hold up. The following program is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
All right, we're back now. This is the show known as Guru Sports Session. I am your co-host, E-Buck, the Nighthawk. And of course, the man with the master plan there, Hugh Lee, the guru, the sports guru himself. Make sure you follow him on all his platforms. We will show you what those are at the end here. In the meanwhile, we are switching it up from talking Final Four and transfer portal and whatnot to talk MLB. MLB is back, baby. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm happy about it. Love me some baseball. And it's been a good first week or two of baseball. We're going to talk about a few of the teams that's doing the ups and downs, but then we got to talk about the first major controversy of the 2025 season. First and foremost, biggest surprise right now, Atlanta Braves. What the hell? Winless?
Did we say we thought they was gonna win the division?
I did. You did.
I don't know,
We
man.
did.
It's still early though, but yeah, they got me scared right now, man. Atlanta to be
Off to an
playing.
0-6 start, I think it is now. I don't understand what's going on.
But
They
then
got
my boy,
good pitching. They got a good lineup.
then I found out my boy hurt too, man. It's funny how things happen because when Atlanta was not doing well, then I look up and I found out Freddie Freeman injured.
Now, of course, that's the Dodgers who still have the best record in baseball because they've yet to lose, and they already had a 2-game start on everybody. But yeah, the Dodgers, I've seen nothing to indicate that they're gonna have many problems this year.
Not at
Even
all.
with the pitchers, starting pitching ain't been quite what they wanted to be overall, but they so much ahead in terms of they player personnel. Yeah, I think we talked about how many teams are gonna make it to 100 wins. I see them win 110 easy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't see them losing more or like be like at 99 or something like that. No, they'll be easily over 100.
Right. Even if they have several injuries like they did last year, man, and still managed to win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
If that team stayed relatively healthy, it's them and everybody else.
Yeah. They would really have to mount up a lot of injuries for that team not to win. But then the crazy part was they mounted up a couple of injuries, like some vital players too. But then that's when guys stepped up, like the Kiki Hernandez and Tesker
Hernandez.
Name. Yeah, they got some really good players over there, man. And we didn't even think he was going to be that good at first, man. And he stepped up his game for them, man. And when everybody came back and everybody was back at 100%, man, you couldn't stop that team. And now they even better.
And Shohei doing all right, but the key person on that squad right now is that dude Mookie. And remember, he went into the season all kind of banged up and not feeling good, lost 20 pounds, but as soon as the season started, none of that seemed to matter. He on fire right now.
Yeah, man. Mookie Betts has been one of the best batters for a while. And the crazy part to me about it is, man, it seemed like all the great players that the Boston Red Sox had, if they kept some of them players, man, how many titles that they would have won by now.
Right. And speaking of Boston, not doing too good. Main reason, the person that's supposed to be that guy on Boston, that kid Devers, he playing like crap. 10 strikeouts already?
And you wouldn't expect that from Rafael Devers, man, because Rafael Devers has been a really good player, man. We didn't expect for him to be as good as he is, but to play this bad right now, yeah, maybe because it's early. And you notice too, man, a lot of guys when it's kind of still cold out and it's not really to the point where it's really hot. And if I'm not mistaken, is he like Dominican Republic?
I believe so.
Yeah, when it get warmer out, man, that's when they start to step their game up. So yeah, I'm waiting to see him do good. But at this point, I was really surprised because I didn't think that he'd be in this situation right now, especially Boston not playing good with all the good talent they got around them.
Right. Now, on the other hand, somebody that can step their game up. Let's go local right quick. Detroit Tigers. Dude, Spencer Torkelson doing his thing. So much so, remember, they was just trying to find a spot for him to be on the team. He been playing so good. Remember that dude, Labor Torres? He ain't been in the lineup last couple nights. It's been Spencer, and he been back at first base. So they could put Cole Keith back at second. I've been very impressed. I mean, he's batting over 400 right now.
I hope it stay that way, man, because they put so much into Spencer Torkelson, man, and for him not to play as well was a travesty. But he had to go down to the minors, and I'm hoping that step his game up. Man, I'm about to put you on something that you probably up on, but really surprised me too. And remember at one point where our boy Scherzer wasn't playing that good, but this was when he was like younger. What they do to him? They put him in the minors. And he came back, and me and my dad always was talking about this, man. We was like, man, I told him, I said, Dad, don't you notice something? And he was like, what's that? I said, don't you know this now since, my man's Scherzer back? Max Scherzer's been pitching better than Justin Verlander. And he started laughing. He said, sure is. He was like, son, they got a problem under them right now because you going to have to pay one and you can't keep both. And that's exactly what happened. Scherzer ended up leaving. But Gleyber Torres, if he leave, I wouldn't really lose no sleep, man. I'm a Yankee. I like the Yankees too, and I just didn't like the way he played there and how he handled things there with the Yankees. But he better not do that now. He in Detroit, man. How he dogged out a few plays and he half-ass did things, but I'm definitely happy for the Tigers, man. We gave the Dodgers all they can handle, man. Some of them games they beat us the last minute. So I'm definitely hoping we can continue to play well. I tried to hit my buddy with an April Fool's joke last night when I was feeling bad, almost passing out. And man, would you like to share that?
No, I would not. Just remember, when April Fools get here, y'all, trust not the news. Hell, rest in peace, Val Kilmer, by the way. But since that went on last night, I didn't even trust that news till this morning when I seen it still was a news item.
What?
But yes, Val Kilmer died yesterday.
Okay.
And it was not an April Fool's. Though, like I said, because it was April Fool's and people started sending me stuff, I started to think everything was April Fool's. So that's part of why I don't like April Fool's Day. And keep in mind, when we talk about the origin of April Fool's, it really don't have nothing to do with what you think it does. Look it up. I'm not even going to educate y'all on that. That give y'all something to do. But it's not about joking, the original reason for April Fool's Day, just for the record. But anyway, yeah, baseball, granted, like I said, first week, things will correct themselves eventually. I mean, hell, you got Vlad Guerrero Jr. not playing that great.
No.
You got Witt Jr. not doing what we thought he was going to do early on. Hell, Mike Trout.
Yes, Mike Trout, but them boys playing
Yeah, but
now, they're over 500 right now.
But the Angels actually winning. Hell, White Sox got a winning record right now. Like I said, oh my, that was a big one right there. Man, we record in the midst of the thunderstorm, and it is thundering pretty good right now.
Funny because it was delayed. I heard it on your end, and then it came right over here. That same roar.
That was a big one. But yeah, the team that also playing pretty good right now, them Yankees. Now here's the thing. Enter the controversy. Talk about it, Hugh.
Them damn torpedo bats, man. Nobody happy about them right now.
The infamous torpedo bat. Talk about it, Hugh.
I feel like the bats are cool, man, because it gives you more of a grip, and not only that, it gives you more bat to baseball ratio, man. And I think it's been good for the game to me, because the last 2 to 3 years, which they said they started them out in 2023, it's been a lot more offense going on, man. And I like some of the rules they did too, like with the, fixing the shifts and the different things like that, the formats, and then the clock with the pitchers taking all day. Because we used to have 3-4 hour Yankees and Boston Red Sox games alone. Now, if you go to a game, you'll go to a game and you'll be there maybe an hour and a half, no more than 2 hours. And the games go so fast now. When the last time I went to a game, like last year sometime, man, you would look up like, damn, it's already the fourth inning. And that's how the speed of the game has went up, because they wanted to make sure the game, was a little faster. They want to get it at a faster pace. And now with these torpedo bats, it's really at a fast pace, because they've been hitting home runs like no other. And I believe now, of course, because of the torpedo bats got so, popular, everybody want to put that cheating word in there now. And it's an unfair advantage.
Now, understand, people, first and foremost, this is not the first season in Major League Baseball that torpedo bats have been allowed. First off, it just wasn't that many people using them. The reason why we even here is because in that 3-game series first week, Yankees went and nutted up with these bats, okay? Basically, the one game in particular, they had 9 home runs. And many of them happened at the very beginning of the game, when on the first 3 pitches of the game. Out of here. And almost everybody on the Yankees that was involved in that was using a torpedo bat. Now, Hugh broke it down. Let me break it down a little further. Okay, let's just say this is a bat, all right? Y'all see that? Basically, you see how the pin has that fat part, because most bats are shaped that way. The fat part of the bat is right here, and then it slims down as you go further down, right? The way the torpedo bats are set up is this part of the bat is thinner, okay? That top part of the bat. And the thick part is more in this longer part of the bat, and then the shaft part is a little smaller. So it's more meat on this part of the bat. Now, what they say the disadvantage is most people getting bigger and farther hits because it's hitting on more or less this part of the bat. Keep in mind, you want to hit it on this part on a normal bat, because that's what the thick part is. But most people get their hits up around this middle part of the bat. So now if that part is fat too, that leads to bigger, stronger hits. That's why they say it's an unfair advantage. But my thing is this: they've been legal since 23. Everybody's allowed to use it. Let them do what they do. I don't have no problem with it.
You know what's crazy too, E? I'm gonna mention something that you probably seen over this week, when my man's Tatis Fernandez, when he went to go and he did a check swing. And when he did that check swing, he had, of course, a torpedo bat. And when he check swing, it went all the way to the actual wall. It gave him a double. And that's when I think a lot of the stuff where people start to notice about them torpedo bats too. And like you said, more or less the Yankees didn't make it any better. But when I seen that, I said, whoa, this dude got like a check swing double. And that's when I was like, man, it's about to start getting out of hand now. And they're about to really start, talking about that. I would be surprised if nothing happened, or if they don't try to at least bring it to the table and try to ban them or something, man.
I myself say they're going to allow them. The only reason they don't get allowed, which is going to bring us to our next subject, is that the winning teams, in other words, your Yankees, your Orioles, your Dodgers, they start to have most of their players use it, and you start to see a significant jump in their batting averages and whatnot.
Mhm.
If that starts to happen, then yeah, it's going to be an issue. Basically, everybody basically starts using them, and the averages go up a little bit, then I don't think it's going to be an issue. That's better for the game. Because let's be honest, basically since the pandemic, the pitching has been the dominating force in the league. And, the league really don't want that. They kind of want to go back to the quote unquote steroid era without the steroids, when people was launching home runs. Because, home runs is sexy. Strikeouts, not so much. But then, since we talk about rule changes and unfair advantages, let's switch over to the NFL for a minute.
Okay.
But now we got to talk about the thing that they've been talking about a lot in these NFL meetings this particular week. That thing we call the tush push. They want to ban the tush push. You, what's your thoughts?
I thought that was a coward move, man. First and foremost, from the Green Bay Packers, man. You can do it. Anybody, well, nobody can do it as good as Philly. So I believe they want to try to make sure that they get that out and ban it because I know a lot of the defensive players wanted to, change that touch push because they say even on special teams or like kicking field goals. Remember, they don't like to have players launch other players like defensively and at one point it had to get to the point where that's what I liked when the New England Patriots had a lot of athletic guys on their team and they used to be able to jump over the pile and get like the field goals blocked. But then they were saying you can't lodge a defensive player into another player because it was illegal. But yet the way the touch push is going where you hold the player up and then you kind of push them to get the extra yardage. I still didn't really feel like that was an advantage because still I feel like with Saquon Barkley and how much he can press with his legs, I think like 1,000 pounds, he can squat. You really still think you're gonna stop him on a 4th and 1? Come on now. I just feel like whoever said that and who wanted to do away with the tush push and ban it, which mainly was the Green Bay Packers, was one of the main teams that came out of the surface. I feel like it's a coward move, and if you can't stop it, then that's on you. We've seen it get stopped a couple of times this year. He would surprise me, but yeah, just really was surprised that somebody will up and say that. Yeah, they say it's dangerous, and right now they're still voting on it. So I'm hoping that it stays in the playbook.
Well, for the time being, based on recent information, that is the case. They voted on it yesterday. Well, at least they were going to. They actually decided to shelf that for a later date. In the end, they're saying half the teams, no, we don't want that. The other half, like, we cool with it. I mean, think about it. It's really only 2 teams last year that used it effectively more often than not. That, of course, is the world champion Eagles and the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for them teams for 2 different reasons. One, it works for Philadelphia because they got the biggest offensive line in the league. Average person on that line, 325 pounds, about 6'4". Then, of course, they got the strongest quarterback in the league in terms of leg strength because Jalen Hurts can squat about 700 pounds damn self. So you add them 2 factors together. That's why they had an 85 or 90% percentage of that play working for them. And then, of course, on Buffalo, it works because they got one of the bigger quarterbacks in the league at
Mm-hmm.
6'5", 240 something. So you get that ball to Josh Allen and give him a little push, he in there. So because other teams can't do that because their quarterback's either too frail or too little, they feel some type of way. Bottom line is, some people saying, well, people will get hurt and whatnot. Ain't nobody get hurt from that last year.
They got hurt. Yeah, they've been doing it for like 2 years now.
Right. It's been innovations in the league over the years that people get mad and can't stop it, so they want to change it. I go
Absolutely.
back to the days of, remember the good old run and shoot and how people started using the run and shoot and they was mad that they couldn't do nothing with that until they figured out a way to stop it. West Coast offense, remember that? Hell, even the damn wishbone from back in the day, that was an issue. Teams couldn't stop that because they could. The option play, it goes on and on.
Wildcat.
The Wildcat offense,
All
exactly.
that stuff in there.
So, yeah, bottom line, do better. Because when Kansas City needed to stop it last year against Buffalo to make it to the Super Bowl, they did. Do better. Plain and simple.
I just feel like, man, whoever came up, and like I said, I'm just really disappointed with Green Bay, man, because when we found out they were the team who was the ones who said it, I said, I'm not surprised, man. I would have thought it'd have been a team in a division that had something to say
Yeah,
about
like the Commanders or somebody.
But yeah, I'm just surprised that it has to be, in our divisions. A team ratted them out and said they want to get it banned.
Right. Stop being so soft. But anyway, that's what's going on in the NFL right now. Okay, now I say we go ahead and jump to the NBA and finish our way from there.
Okay.
Last night in the NBA, pretty interesting. Some good games. A lot of offense last night. A lot of 120, 130, 140 type scores. A couple players in particular, though, we want to talk about. Go ahead, Hugh.
Man, it was some really historic games. It was displayed, man. And man, we almost had 4 triple doubles in one night, and it was amazing. The stats was so crazy that I thought it was a lie. I had to look because, like I said, or like E said, yesterday was April Fool's. So I was sick and had to try to prank him with one. But then when I looked up, I said, okay, let me see if this really real or if it's not. And when I seen some of the stats, I thought it was unbelievable. Like the Nikola Jokic triple double, where he was 61, 10, and 10. And then you had the Stephen Curry one that was probably even crazier than that. I've never seen those type of triple doubles. Steph almost had a quadruple double yesterday, and it was just some really interesting stuff going on around the league. And I actually could say it definitely was a historic night in basketball yesterday.
Yeah, well, first of all, I know it's going to sound crazy to say, but Nikola Jokic does not get enough credit in this NBA, okay? 7-footer, who remember at one point was damn near on his way out the league, got traded from Portland because they felt like he was too big and wasn't a good post player and what have you. Got to the bubble. Oh, look out. Here it comes.
I should be hearing it soon myself.
Yeah, I had to pause. That was a loud. You always get the lightning before the thunder. So when I seen that big lightning strike, I knew it was good.
Yeah, man, I'm looking at Stephen Curry's stats right now too, man. He had 52 points, 10 rebounds. He had 8 assists, 5 steals, and he had actually 12 3-pointers made. That dude couldn't miss last night.
That's a career night for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But Steph, that was just one night of several. And keep in mind, in that game, he was one of 2 people that had a triple double. Because Draymond Green had a triple double in that game as well.
Yesterday was historic, man. It was a guy I ain't never heard of, who had a triple double, man. And I was like, man, that was impressive. He was one of the newer guys in the league too, and I said, "Man, this is starting to get crazy and getting out of hand." Let me see. The kid's name is Denny Avdija, and
Not familiar.
he had like 32 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. And then Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards had 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. So yeah, man, it was actually some pretty good ball. And that game with Denver and the Timberwolves went down to the wire too. So yeah, it was some pretty good basketball happened yesterday.
Right. But that being said, no Lamont Murray in that game, so that's a little concerning. Hopefully, Cade Cunningham will be back tonight for the Pistons. So yeah, starting that injury thing. Remember that definitely affected last year's playoffs with these last minute injuries. Oh yeah. We getting some good Thunder Boomers right now, y'all. But my concern is this now. This last week or so of the season, this is part of the argument why we don't care so much about the NBA being so long in terms of games. Because yeah, you look at some of these other teams that's on the lower end, they're already shut down their good players for whatever reason. We already know San Antonio, they shut down because they got no more of DeAndre Fox. They got no more of Wemby. They out for the season. We got New Orleans now, shut down Zion Williamson and CJ McCullough for the season. We got Philadelphia, no more Embiid, no more Paul George for the season. If you are a person with season tickets, you cannot be happy about these things.
It's bad, because of the fact is the NBA is not to the point where it should be. We was talking about it before that they need to cut down on some of these games. There's too many games, and I believe a lot of the guys are getting to the point where they're getting uninterested. And at the same time, not only that, but you can see the team starting to tank. Like you said, no McCollum, and you don't have no Zion, then no Embiid and no Paul George. And you just basically saying to yourself, no De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama. That's letting you know that you're not putting in your best effort and you're going out to tank and try to get the best player in the draft right now, which is Cooper Flag. And they're making it blatant. So yeah, it's just really ridiculous, man. We already upset because we feel like the NBA is soft and it got to a EuroLeague type, you know, atmosphere. But then you turn around now and you have an issue where you see that they're really not giving a damn and saying, man, let us, just take a step back and let us do what we got to do right now to get the best player in the draft. Because remember when Dallas did that, and a lot of people were pissed off, and I believe it was like rumblings like, well, yeah, they was pissed at Mark Cuban, like, well, man, you did this to try to get a better draft pick. I think they were blessed, man, because even though they didn't get the best draft pick, they still got Derek Lively, man. So that still helped them out. But still, I just felt like that was weak to do that. But they got to do better too in the NBA, man. Make the games matter.
Right.
Because
And in the end, trusting the process ain't always the best move either. Remember that. They had Embiid. They messed around, got the number one pick, Marquez Falk. Yeah, he over there in Orlando, but he just over there in Orlando. Messed around, got another number one pick, Ben Simmons. He doing all right for the Clippers, but just all right. Remember, these number one overall picks.
ones.
Right. What they do? I mean, it's not always in your best interest to change. That's what we're saying. Hell, the Clippers had so many good picks over the years, the Oliver Candies and all of them. How'd that work out for them?
That was my man's too, man. Oliver Candy. I thought
I
that he
put
was
Oliver Candy. That's a blast from the past, no doubt. But yeah, long story short, we ready for playoff time in NBA and NHL. Our NHL update right quick before we go ahead and shut the show out. That dude, the main man, Ovechkin, 3 goals away now from being the all-time leading scorer in terms of goals in the NHL, passing the great one. He got about 7 games left. You still say he do it?
Absolutely. Remember, I was saying it before. Now I really think he is. He got 2 yesterday, but I still feel like what I was telling you, they're going to spoon feed him and make sure he get it within these 7 days or these 7 games that they have left. I'd be surprised if he don't get it.
My guess is he'll get another goal sometime in these next 3 games, and then that following game, they'll hat trick it and he'll be in there. But that being said, yeah, he'll be the all-time leading goal scorer, man. Not the all-time leading scorer, because remember, not only is Gretzky the all-time leader in goals scored, but he's also the all-time leader in goals assisted. And yeah, his lead is so far on that one, there ain't nobody touching that.
I definitely like the fact that we had something like this go on in hockey because, it kind of reminds you of the Kareem record when LeBron beat it. And it's good because it's good for the game. I hope that we get more records broken, in the NHL, so we can actually pay more attention and be on the watch for those things.
Right.
Because
And more importantly, more records being broken by American players, because I think that's part of why it's not the interest that we would normally have.
yeah, because he's
Russian
from
players.
Russia. Yeah, because he's from Russia.
Sad but true. With that being said, that's all I got this week. Hugh, what about you, my friend?
Yeah, that's all I have as well, man. Don't really have much to go after that.
All right. So that being said, on my end, go UConn Lady Huskies, do your thing. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about your championship next week on the show. If not, we'll of course get into what happened in the Final Four, and we'll be about that much closer to playoff time in NHL and NBA. So we'll talk about that and whatever else pops up between now and then. We appreciate you, Hugh. You can tell them about your platforms.
You guys can check me out on Instagram as Hoovy. You can also check me out on TikTok as Hugh.Lee6. And you can check me out on Facebook as Sports Guru to You. And you can catch me too on, of course, the Guru Perspective every Tuesday and on Wednesday, we do the Guru Sports session. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to talk to me about, or what I should add, or some things you want me to put on the show, you could definitely get with me too at the sports guru to you at gmail.com. Let me know what you want me to talk about. I know right now we didn't talk about something and we briefly should have talked about, but it hasn't been good, and that's the UFL. It's been so bad. I don't think that even us, me and E, who love to watch the game and just watch sports in general, has something to say. That's how bad the actual XFL has been, or the UFL, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Let me jump back in on that one, y'all, because last year the UFL it had its moments. It got kind of interesting. You had several people come in, do their thing, and make it to the NFL. Probably the biggest person to go from that to that and do something was the kicker for the Detroit Lions, Mr. Bates, who ended up having a pretty good season off of that. But the UFL in trouble if this is what they got to offer us. That first weekend, most of y'all don't even know what the hell we talking about because that's just how bad it was. And the games, boring. The crowd's boring. Yeah, if that's what second season UFL look like, it's gonna go the same way as USFL and XFL and all the other wannabe leagues. Now, a proposal that's being made actually at the meetings is that they want to start taking